Hello, it's Wednesday, June 5th, 2019, and as of this recording, I'm still depressed, but I'm not dead. So, the medical world is all about spectrums these days, right? It's been for a while, but like autism became autism spectrum disease. I think ASD. I think that's right. Um, and the more we study things, the more we learn about anything. I guess from diseases to nature to sexuality to everything. It seems the closer we look, the more we realize that everything's on a spectrum, and it's not enough to say, I keep thinking about the autism thing, but to say I have autism, it's autism spectrum, and we get into mental illnesses, and we talk about depression. There's high functioning, there's functioning, there's whatever, major depressive, like I am categorized, to situational depression, to lots of, I guess I should have done some research before I started talking out of my other end. But it's true, we're all on spectrums of some sort, and it can't be, it's not fair, it's not right, and by right I mean what society has set for itself. So for society, it's not right to pigeonhole someone as being on the bipolar spectrum, or specifically, I know there's like bipolar 1, bipolar 2, but I know that there's variance within there. And to say that I am depressed probably is not specific enough. Should someone care to want to know more about my situation, it's not explanative enough. Explanative? It doesn't explain enough about my situation, and it would probably unfairly categorize me as something. And I've been thinking about this, as I'm listening to other shows on mental illness, when I think about my own situation, when I think about my friends. And it's interesting to me that we are on these, I keep saying the word spectrum. That's the word of the day. Was it Pee Wee Herman had a word of the day? I guess that's my word for today. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this. I know it relates to something I do want to talk about. So I guess we'll just get on with the show and get to it. Here we go. So before I go any farther, I want to once again pimp my friend Claire's show, Exercising Depression. It's on Spotify. I put a show out yesterday real quick, featuring her first episode, and I don't know that I talked enough about where you could find her show, Exercising Depression, on Spotify. Like I said, she has plans to get it in other locations, hopefully somewhere with an RSS feed. So, those folks like me who like to consolidate their podcasts in one place can subscribe. But from what I've heard so far, it's going to be worth it to just kind of enter the Spotify ecosystem solely for her show. You can email her, what was it? Depression or Exercising Depression Podcast @gmail.com. There's also Exercising Depression Facebook group, which will be filled with lots of really neat things, I'm sure. So yeah, check her out. I can't talk enough about it. I'm really excited for her and really proud of her for what this journey that she's embarking on. So go check her out. She's awesome. Yeah, you'll be glad you did. So one thing I wanted to talk about was my medicine situation. So, I've been raving and going on and on about my medication cocktail that I have right now. And I know I had talked early on about switching over to Resulti and how it was concerns about my insurance. And I was able to get some samples from the psychiatrist. And then while they were working on a prior authorization, they gave me these funky prescriptions for two 15-day prescriptions and a prescription card, which made those free. And that card is only good for single, well, a prescription and a refill. So two rounds of 15 days, so a month's worth. And now it's time to get the full, 30-day prescriptions. And, I looked it up, and it, according to my insurance website, it was going to be like $150 for 90 days worth of medication. I think it was like $75 for 30 days. And I was a little bit anxious about that, as, Nora and I are trying to save money. We're buying this house, and, the budget's gotten a little tighter, and, all in all, $150 every 3 months isn't huge. Excuse me, but it was an additional cost that was coming into the family budget. So I was concerned about it and hoping the prior authorization comes through and it would go down to a normal copay of like $10 for a prescription or something like that. So I went to my local Target pharmacy, CVS pharmacy inside Target here in the United States. And I went to see if my prescription was ready, and they said that, oh, no, your insurance just isn't going to cover it. And I said, well, I thought, I'd gotten a voicemail from the psychiatrist saying, hey, the prior authorization is good. It's in, you're set to go. So I mentioned that, and they said, oh, let's try, we'll run it again. And they went and ran it and came back that it's non-formulary, I think is the phrase. So I had to look that up to understand it really. And apparently it just refers to, the formulary is a set of medicines as decreed by a panel of doctors, or pharmacists, maybe pharmacists, doctors, pharmacists, I think. And I imagine that it works that every insurance company has their own panel, or they, just use someone else's and pick and choose what they want. But anyway, it was determined by my insurance company that this is a medication that they will just not cover. And I happened to glance at the sheet that, the pharmacist was showing me, the specific reason that it was kicked back. And I happened to glance at the price, and it was like $1,200 for 30 days. And, my heart just sank, and oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I mean, this is one of the two medications that I am crediting with, this, where I am today, and as far as my mood and my situation, and the idea of having to go off it because of price. While I know it's not unique to me, kind of first world problems, it was, it was new to me, and I didn't know what to do. So I called my psychiatrist, and it was after hours by that point, and just said, hey, this is where I'm at. and I had a long walk home from the store, and I was thinking about it more and more, and I remembered I have a prescription card for this, a second one that the psychiatrist had given me, so maybe I can use that. When I got home, I called the insurance company just to, because I felt like I didn't have enough information to make an informed decision on this, to know what my options were. So I wanted to talk to them and called and spoke with somebody, really helpful person. She's like, yep, oh, I see the prior authorization right there. Yep, let me see what's going on. And she came back with that same non-formulary blah, blah, blah. And it's too expensive for what the plan is willing to cover. And I was like, okay, so what? I mean, you're saying, prior authorization doesn't mean anything. And she's like, well, maybe we can get it overridden. And that's another department. Let me put you on hold and I'll get back with you. And I was on hold for like 10 minutes or something. And she came back and said, okay, so we were able to override this prescription, so you should be able to go and pick it up. And I said, well, she used different words on that, but the way it sounded was, it was like this single course of medication would be picked up. And I said, well, this isn't like an antibiotic. This is, a long-term medication. I explained it was for depression. And she said, well, they said that the override should be okay unless, it depends on what the price is when you go to refill it. And I was like, oh, it's going to be the same. I mean, the price isn't going to come down in 30 days. And she, I said, so am I going to have to, call and get this overridden every month? And she said, yeah, maybe. Which didn't fill me with a lot of hope, right? I mean, if the whole idea of an override is that it's apart from policy, right? So it's unusual. And, there's no guarantee in my mind that, if I just call in 30 days that, yep, they're going to do it again. So I'm kind of, I'm a little concerned. I'm feeling a little anxious about this medication thing. I talked with Nora about it, and she asked me to get her the information, because the company that she works for, that our insurance is through, they're kind of my vocabulary just self-insured, and that maybe she might be able to find out something, and be able to do something from within the company, which would be cool. So we'll see what happens. I'm just really kind of anxious about it, and I was given some more samples when I was at the psychiatrist just yesterday. And so my plan is really to put those in the back of the medicine cabinet and have them basically planning for the day that it's decided that I can't get this medication. And, I'll need that store to kind of be able to titrate off and move on to something else. And, I'm really not looking forward to that. If it does come, in my head, it's a foregone conclusion, but that's catastrophizing. I don't know that that's going to happen, but it's just the way it feels. So yeah, I mean, on one hand, I feel good that I kind of tried to advocate for myself and made a phone call, and, I hate talking on the phone. But I did it anyway. I put them on, I always put people on speaker, or I talk when I'm in my car over Bluetooth, because it somehow feels different. Doesn't feel like I'm talking on the phone, and it makes it a little easier. So I feel good that I was able to do that for myself. But more than that, I feel just kind of unsettled and unsure about what, what's going to happen next month and the month after that. And it's I don't know, it just feels bigger because I feel like I've had such success with this medication, and I hate the idea of possibly having to change it and go on to something else. And I mean, yeah, I'll say it. I'm kind of afraid of, having to titrate off it, and which those of you who have changed medications, that that's the way you do it. And like I can't help it. I can't help but imagine what that's going to feel like feeling this benefit kind of seep away. And that just, I don't know. I don't know what words to put that to. It's just not something that I really want to have happen. So yeah, medicine is, yeah, I mean, my first, it's still not a crisis. And it wasn't before, when I was all worried about it and I thought we had come to a point where it was going to be settled, and, maybe it becomes nothing, but, I really can't convince my worrywart mind that it is just going to be okay. Yeah, so we'll see. So what else? I've been listening to more podcasts lately. I've picked up on some more podcasts related to mental health, and it's remarkable to me again how, I don't want to say that there's something unique about my show. I mean, yeah, there is something unique about my show. It's my show. And so everybody's, in that sense, everybody's podcast is unique, right? But it's weird that I still haven't found a show where, like, it's just talking about mental health. And it's, there's always seems to come up some form of, hey, you're struggling, but you can do this. I know you're struggling, but, do this and maybe you'll feel a little bit better. And I don't want to say that it bothers me, but it bothers me that I can't just find like a podcast that I can listen to that just speaks to me. And maybe I'm being selfish here. I don't know. But it's like I find a good show that I kind of like the person who's doing it. I like the sound of their voice. I like their, the way they speak, and, I get hooked into an episode, and then invariably, 2 episodes in, 3 episodes in, and it's like, if when you're feeling bad, do this, go exercise, go, do some burpees, just go for a walk. And I know that it's good stuff, but I also know that it's not good stuff for everybody, because just like depression is on a spectrum, within each instance of depression, we're on spectrums, right? We have good days, we have bad days, we have horrible days, we have horrible months. We have a week when we're feeling just blah. We have a week where we're feeling, hey, we may smile a little bit. And that may be followed by a week where it doesn't matter what we try, we can't get out of bed, or we can't get out of our own head that, oh, we're just the worst people in the world, that nothing else matters, that everybody would be better off without us. and saying, go out and take a walk, go out, get your pulse above 120 for 15 minutes, and, that'll give you benefits. And it's true. I mean, if we all could, every one of us would benefit from going out and getting our pulse above 120 for 15 minutes. I mean, that there's no gray area in that. There's no doubt that wouldn't help. But that doesn't mean that you can do it. And sure, there are those of us and people out there who won't do it. But I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the people who can't do it. And I know, because I've been there. I've been, in that situation for months on end where, I mean, nothing really matters. And the idea of getting up and going for a walk just seems like I might as well be trying to pick up the house, right? I might as well go out and run an ultra marathon, right? I mean, it's something that can't be done in your mindset. You cannot do it. And, it's not fair for people who are in that situation, who are tuning in and listening to a show, listening to someone that maybe they trust, or, at least admire or like or respect. Let's say that's what I want to get at. Gosh, it's not, when I was the end of 2014 and most of 2015, if I had been listening to podcasts then and the person at the other end said, hey, get busy with your hands and do a craft and do some cooking, because that's, you've been busy with your hands, and then even at the end you've got something yummy to eat. It would have just in one ear and out the other, like okay, you might as go, start speaking fluent French. I mean, it's that kind of monumental chore. And I've been thinking about the show here, and I know that I've been big on saying that I know there's a path for you. I hope that's not construed as being like, hey, just get your butt in gear and you'll find it. I honestly believe there is a path for everyone. And, I often say that, I don't know what that path is. And it's obvious that right now you don't know where that path is, because, if you knew it, you'd be on it. But I don't know. I hope I haven't come across as that kind of podcast. I want to, even though I am in a better place now than I was, 130 episodes ago. And even though, admittedly, I mean, some of that feeling from 2015, early 2016, it's as I find myself each day further away from those days, I find it a little harder to feel that again. And I hope I don't misstep and ever sound like I'm minimizing that place. Yeah. So, yeah. So if I have done that, I apologize. I hope I haven't. I hope everybody knows I'm on your side. And, I just want to keep putting out a show that hopefully each episode talks to somebody and speaks to them and helps somebody. I know the nature of the show is that every episode isn't going to be meaningful for every person who does listen. And, I'm really grateful for those of you who continue to listen, for those who come in and listen for a while. If this is the only episode you ever listen to, thanks for taking time out of your day to listen to it. And, I hope you found something out of it that was beneficial. I don't know. I had a lot of stuff I wanted to talk about, and I'm kind of struggling trying to put it together. But here I am. It's, So I guess I'll do a little housekeeping. I had gotten a suggestion a long time ago about the naming format that I use for the show. And at that time, I really wasn't interested in what somebody had to say about, how I title the show and how to make it more more readily available, or readily easy. I don't know what I want to say. Make it so that easier what the show is about. I think generally, I title every show Depressed Not Dead, episode, 136 or whatever. And then I have a subtitle. And I realized that I probably should do that the other way. Maybe do like episode 136, Meet Nora. I don't know if that was the episode for 136 or not. But, that kind of thing. So that kind of Meet Nora or whatever I title the show is what is seen first. And recently that's just kind of got stuck in my craw that, I really should have done that. And I'm going to go through and redo that. So I don't think when I change the names in Libsyn, which is the host for the podcast, I have to hit publish again after I change that. I don't think it actually republishes it. But if it does, hopefully that's not too big an inconvenience for you guys, that it's going to look like new shows are coming. Like I said, I don't think it does that. But if it does, I apologize. And I hope I don't tick anybody off enough to have them ditch me. But yeah, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to try to name the shows a little bit better. I also want to try to go through and get the website caught back up with show notes and things like that. Lots of hopes and wants. And, if anybody out there wants to help out with that, if you have an inkling, if you enjoy doing stuff like that, reach out to me and, we can come up with something, because obviously I'm not very stringent on that on my own. So, I don't know. I've rambled on long enough, 28 minutes here. So, thank you everybody for listening to the show. Thank you for downloading. Thank you for retweeting the tweets or liking the Facebook posts or whatever you do to help promote the show. You guys are all wonderful. I often am amazed at just the friends that I've made through the show and the folks who keep listening and the comments that I get about the show. So thank you all. You make me feel better than I would otherwise. And I can't thank you enough. So with that, I'll remind you, you can find me, Jamoalki, all over the internet, Jamoalki, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, website, that's jamoalki.info. Reach out to me. Let me know how you're doing. You can text me if you prefer to do that. 248-648-1419. I've, made a couple new friends over the past week and a half. So that's really cool. I don't know. I guess that's it. I'm rambling. So everybody be safe and be well.